This is CBC Here and Now.
We're completely devastated. Fire broke out in the middle unit and displaced 3 families.
Tonight, out of their homes.
After fire rips through a Habitat for Humanity project in Conception Bay South.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Carolyn Stokes.
And I'm Anthony Germain.
Well, less than a year ago, 3 families got a fresh start when they moved into a complex built by Habitat for Humanity.
And yet today, they are once again homeless after fire tore through the building late last night. Here and Now's Meg Roberts reports.
The miserable weather matched the mood on Chateau Avenue in Foxtrap today, as residents of the fire-damaged triplex hauled their possessions out of their charred homes. It's a heartbreaking sight after the hard work volunteers and residents put into the triplex, built about a year ago by Habitat for Humanity. The federal and provincial governments contributed about $255,000 to help build the units.
Well, the families moved in, I think it was May of last year, and it's a new home, it's a triplex. A lot of excitement was over the home last year. 3 hard-working families, they did their sweat equity. A lot of volunteers in the community came together to make it happen. So we're pretty devastated over this today.
Last night, a fire ripped through the middle unit. No one was injured, but the home was destroyed, and the other 2 homes damaged by water and smoke. Habitat for Humanity says the building is insured, but as of right now, the focus is on making sure the 3 families have what they need.
Well, they're shook up and they're devastated, they're displaced, and they're trying to, they're trying to deal with the situation as best they can, and we're trying to assess the situation, trying to support them as much as we can.
Habitat for Humanity says they aren't asking for anything from the public until they have a better understanding of the situation. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Meg Roberts, CBC News, Conception Bay South.
Federal Finance Minister Bill Morneau was in St. John's today meeting with the Premier about electricity rates. At the Atlantic Accord announcement on Monday, the Premier said they would be working on a way to prevent power bills from skyrocketing after Muskrat Falls. Ball was quite public about their intentions then, but today the province and Ottawa tried to keep discussions under wraps. Here Now's Katie Breen is in the newsroom tonight with more. Katie.
Well, that's right. Earlier this week, I asked to speak with Morneau and the Premier about this, but their people said no, that they wouldn't be doing media today. So I went to the Confederation building to see if I could catch one of them, and I did. Here's Morneau.
I'm looking forward to meeting with the Premier today. We're going to have a good opportunity to talk about how we can work together.
What do you think will come out of this meeting?
I think we're looking forward to talking about the approach that we can take to work together. We're obviously also going to have the opportunity to talk about the Atlantic Accord that we settled this past week, and how we've created a very positive situation together for the long-term future of Newfoundland and Labrador.
How will you ensure that rates stay reasonable here?
I think some of these questions are probably best directed at the Premier. My goal today is to work together with him in a cooperative fashion so that we can address some of the key challenges that people in Newfoundland and Labrador are facing.
But how do you think you'll do it, though?
Well, I think we have to actually have the meeting to figure that out.
And have you met yet today? Is this you're just going in now?
I just arrived.
Just going in now. So how long is the meeting going to last?
We'll see when we see.
Turns out that meeting lasted about an hour and a half. The flight from Ottawa to St. John's actually takes more time than that. But despite that, the Premier said in a tweet that the fact that Morneau came here proves that this is a priority to him. I asked the consumer advocate for his thoughts earlier today.
It will be much more difficult without the assistance of the federal government to do the financial restructuring, because they are effectively in control of the loan guarantees and the financing into the banks. So we do need them on board, and it's good that they're here.
Okay, Katie, so electricity rates at one story, but there's another story out of the House today, and that has to do with the budget.
Yeah, that's right. We've got a date. It's not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday, April the 16th. And this is actually going to be the last budget before a provincial election. Ball hasn't announced exactly when that's going to be, but he has said it's going to be before the end of June. Live from the newsroom, I'm Katie Breen for Here and Now.
The energy is great. It's a new season. We're not even worried about the past. Right now we're worried about the present, and everyone's happy to be in the playoffs and to compete for a championship.
It's playoff time. The St. John's Edge begin their postseason tonight. We'll be live at Mile 1 with a preview of this team's hoop dreams.
Well, strong winds blew the roof off a business in Bayvert yesterday. The wind was reportedly gusting at over 100 kilometers an hour when part of the roof flew off Bodyworks Fitness and Physiotherapy. The owner of the business says the roof lifted away from the building, sailed over some power lines, and landed across the street. No one was hurt. The owner is waiting to hear from insurance adjusters about repairs.
Yeah, and the strong winds continue through the day today. Take a look at what we saw already, somewhere between 70 and 80 kilometer per hour gusts up along the Labrador coast, though. Nain, 111 kilometers per hour. Makovic sitting at 100 kilometers per hour. Most of the wind warnings have now ended, but we are looking at some wind warnings continuing up through the northern Labrador. Now, these winds also the problem along the west coast, and that led to snow squalls. So here's what it looked like when Walter Fleming woke up this morning in Corner Brook. Lots of snow thanks to those snow squalls, but they are starting to taper off. If we through the overnight, we should see some clearing skies right across the island. Same for the Big Land, with some snow moving in for Lab City overnight, sitting around -13 is your overnight low. Another system moves in for Saturday. It looks like a snowy one. I'll have all those details coming up.
Former Attorney General Jody Wilson-Raybould has responded to allegations that she made demands about how her successor, David Lametti, should treat the SNC-Lavalin file. Now, she denied that in an interview with CBC Radio's morning show in Vancouver.
I would absolutely never do that. I'm very clear on what my role was as the Attorney General, and the discussion that we've been having for the last number of months is around the fundamental principle of prosecutorial independence.
Now, Wilson-Raybould was responding to information that anonymous sources provided to the CBC, and they alleged that she had a list of conditions to end her various differences with the Liberal Party, including a demand that Lametti would not overrule the Director of Public Prosecutions and direct her to give SNC-Lavalin a deferred prosecution agreement. Now, other demands included the firing of the Prime Minister's Principal Secretary, Gerald Butts, along with the Clerk of the Privy Council, Michael Wernick, and PMO Senior Advisor Mathieu Bouchard, and lastly, an apology from the Prime Minister. Wilson-Raybould would not answer to those allegations, saying she does not respond to anonymous sources.
And still with this story, SNC-Lavalin is taking one more try at getting a deferred prosecution agreement. It's filing an appeal at the federal court, which tossed out the company's case in March. The Prime Minister talked about the case at an event in Toronto today. He was asked whether the government supports a DPA for the company, but he repeated a point he's made before.
The courts will follow their appropriate process. The Attorney General, as we've heard many times over the past weeks, has the responsibility to make a determination on whether and how to intervene in matters before the courts.
SNC is asking the court to take a new look at the case based on new information. It was revealed when Jody Wilson-Raybould tested at the Justice Committee hearings last month.
Well, we're counting down the tip-off time at Mile 1 Centre, where playoff basketball begins tonight. St. John's Edge earned home court advantage for the opening round of the postseason.
Yes, and that's a big advantage when the home court is Mile 1. Here and now, Zach Audi is there and joins us now live. So, Zach, set the stage for this playoff series.
Well, the Edge are where they want to be going into the playoffs, here at home in St. John's, where they could count on the crowd to be a big factor. The Edge put more fans in the seats this year than any other team in the National Basketball League. More than 75,000 regular season tickets sold. That beats last year's attendance numbers here by a good 10,000 tickets. So you can tell this city is really behind this team. Now, the Edge are taking on the Sudbury Five in this best-of-5 game series. At practice this morning, the team looked good, shooting well. Their regular season performance was so-so. The Edge finished 5th in the 10-team league. Along the way, they lost hometown hero Carl English, who needed surgery on his hand. But they picked up some big players with big personalities. There's Glenn Big Baby Davis, a former NBA champ, really entertaining guy to watch. There's also Satnam Singh, the first Indian-born player to be drafted by the NBA. He is 7'2", and even when he's on the bench, he's often up on his feet cheering. So he's a hard guy to miss around here. This morning, head coach Stephen Marcus said this team is rested and ready, and they know how crucial it is to start this series on the right foot.
I think it's such a short series. You know, the odd number games are always really important. Game 1, Game 3, and Game 5. So I told the fellas, you know, whoever wins Game 1 of a Game 5 series goes on to win the series 66% of the time. So tonight's extremely important. I think if you don't have nerves, something's probably wrong. So I think nerves are okay. But let's channel that energy and put it towards, you know, a great 48-minute effort tonight.
There is the big man Satnam Singh out on the court now, warming up with some of the other Edge players. Fans just starting to trickle in here at Mile 1. Tip-off time is 7 o'clock tonight, and Game 2 of this series goes Sunday afternoon here at Mile 1. Reporting live, I'm Zach Gowdy for Here and Now.
All right, Zach, you enjoy that assignment. We'll be back with Zach a little bit later this evening. But now to some major recognition for one of our own colleagues here at CBC Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yes, Ted Blades is up for a National Journalism Award.
The host of CBC Radio's On the Go produced a documentary. It was called We Didn't Think That We Were Doing a Lot.
It's about elementary school students in London who tend to the graves of Newfoundland soldiers and the journey those students took to this side of the ocean.
Now Ted is up for an award from the Canadian Association of Journalists. Those winners will be decided at a big gala in Winnipeg in May.
Land and sea, I believe, has a heartbeat.
For 5 decades, Land and Sea has told stories about ordinary people doing remarkable things all around Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yeah, it's not just Ted, Pauline, too. The program was honored last night at the Turning the Tide Awards, and we'll take you there.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. Bonus deadline is midnight tonight. Order now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Made it to Friday.
Yeah, one of those days, the car door battle, actually.
Yeah.
The wind this morning.
All kinds of battles.
Shaking. Yeah.
At the gym this morning, it was like, gonna pull it back real quick.
Be
Yeah.
careful.
Yeah, if you're going out tonight, don't bother doing your hair or anything. It's
not worth it.
So it's going to stay windy, I guess.
Yeah.
I trust the experts on these matters.
Or if you do go out, just make sure you have a toque on, because it's also pretty cold. Yeah, taking a look at the temperatures, the highs today only sitting, didn't really crack the 0 degree mark for most areas. Just Terra Nova and Bonavista did, sitting around 3 degrees. But otherwise, because of that wind, it's feeling much cooler. We've got wind chills in the minus double digits for most areas. Bonavista feeling closer to -8. Makkovik feeling closer to -24 right now. And Lab City feeling like -15. Now, taking a look at the warnings, most of the warnings have actually ended across the province. We still have that wind warning for Nain, though. Winds gusting upwards of 100 kilometers per hour. Same around St. Anthony, or a little bit south of St. Anthony. And then Makkovik in a blowing snow advisory right now, and just because those winds are going to stay strong as we head through the overnight tonight. And eventually we will start to see those temperatures drop as we head through the overnight. But as the low continues to pull off over the Labrador Sea, the snow squalls will eventually ease. Those warnings have already ended, so that's certainly good news tonight, and we will start to see the winds ease slightly, but it's still going to be quite windy. And then we're looking at clearing skies for the most part. You can see winds along the coastal Labrador. Now, this is what the models are pointing at, likely between 80 and 90 kilometers per hour through the overnight, and then gusting between 50 and 60 for most of the island. Labrador City is actually going to see those winds ease off tonight, which is good news. And then towards the early morning hours, we'll start to see some snow move through, especially for western Labrador. But the first half of the day tomorrow actually looks quite nice, and those temperatures will be cool to start the day, sitting around -6 and -7 as you leave tomorrow morning. Westerly winds, as I mentioned, between 20 to 40 kilometers per hour, and then same for the northeast coast, upwards of about 60 kilometers per hour. Otherwise, we should see some clearing skies. Winds will shift for western Labrador, west to southwesterlies, and then as that low continues to pull away, from northwesterlies to westerlies up through northern Labrador. Otherwise, not too bad. So into tomorrow afternoon, we'll start to see that cloud cover move in thanks to the next system. You'll see the winds, I have them on the map here. They're going to ease even more so towards the morning hours, especially up through coastal Labrador. And then snow. It looks like into the afternoon. Not too much in the way of snow, but still looking at that potential. Somewhere between 2 to 5 centimeters is a good bet right across the board. Now, some coastal areas could see between 5 to 10, and then it also looks like the southern Avalon could pick up some similar accumulations. But this will all move in late day. Your temperatures through the afternoon tomorrow generally sitting in the single digits. Again, those winds easing slightly, only about 50 kilometer per hour gusts tomorrow. Either rain or snow through parts of central as your temperature hovers similarly, and then same for the west coast, those winds out of the southwest, and then up through the northern peninsula between 0 and 1 degree. Again, some snow moving in late day, and then up through Labrador. Mild again tomorrow. So Lab City sitting around 0 degrees. Another shift in the winds from southwesterlies to northwesterlies. And then it looks like plenty of sunshine for Nain, -6, and Makkovik sitting around -3. So that's a look at your Saturday forecast. Sunday is going to warm up a little bit, but I'll have all those details coming up. Carolyn, Anthony?
Thanks, Ashley. Well, a Made Right Here TV show from this province has been recognized for its decades of storytelling.
Yes, CBC Television's Land and Sea, which celebrates 55 years on the air this year, has been honored for archiving and telling stories about the people of this province and their connection to both the land and the sea. Here and Now's Cease Hare reports.
The Red Carpet Gala celebrates not only the economic impact of the marine industry, but also its contribution to the province's culture and history. The awards and gala belong to Turning the Tide, set up 3 years ago to recognize the marine sector. This year, CBC's Land and Sea is acknowledged for its historical contribution to the province for bringing stories into the living rooms of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians for over half a century.
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. I'm proud. I know I have a bias, but I think the show deserves it.
Pauline Thornhill has hosted Land and Sea for 26 years, and in the early days, Land and Sea was shot on black and white film, which then had to be sent away to Halifax to be developed and then sent back to St. John's. Managing Director of CBC Atlantic, Denise Wilson, credits the show's 54-year longevity to the focus on ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
There's still vibrant, living communities that are, doing so many wonderful things in this province, and the people are so resilient.
Thornhill says while the team's work behind the scenes is critical to the show's success, so is the effort from the people who appear on camera.
I'm extremely pleased to accept this award on behalf of the many extremely gifted, talented, and totally dedicated technicians who have worked for this show over the years. These are the people that make this show look and sound the way it does. They make it beautiful.
Thornhill says while the team's work behind the scenes is critical to the show's success, so is the effort from the people who appear on camera.
Their stories. And every one of those stories has been a gift. Thank you very much.
Cease here, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, there are some other winners at last night's gala. The Innovation Leadership Award went to Kraken Robotics in St. John's, a global provider of underwater high-resolution imaging technology for both the commercial and the military sectors.
The Industry Leadership and Excellence Award went to OceanX and its managing partner, Captain Sid Hines. OceanX transports almost half of all the goods to the island. Its trucking company delivers 200 containers of cargo daily across the island.
And the Industry Lifetime Achievement Award went to Fraser Edison, president of Rutter Incorporated. Edison was honored for his past participation in offshore oil and gas developments and, more recently, his investments in fledgling marine technology startups, which are now under the Rutter banner. Rutter is a developer of specialty radar technologies.
Congratulations to all.
Yeah, well done.
Calling all country fans, Tanya Tucker is coming to town.
Tanya Tucker. Country singer behind hits like Delta Dawn and Two Sparrows and a Hurricane. Coming to Mile One Center next month.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, Anthony.
I want free tickets.
Tickets went on sale this morning. So if your heart ain't busy on May 14th, you can catch Tanya live in concert. I can't get away with it.
That's all right.
She's 41 and her daddy still calls her baby.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, stitching a story. Representatives from the Perry McMillan Museum in Maine are in Labrador to find out more information about the origins of some embroideries that are believed to be upwards of 80 years old. They're touring the artworks through several Nunatsiavut communities in the coming days.
And it's a circular story, so it starts here, and you see the same two hunters depicted throughout the tablecloth. So they start here, they have their guns, and here you see them searching for a polar bear and then tracking the polar bear.
And you can see the polar bear's paw prints is what they...
Right, which run around the entire tablecloth. So here you see the hunters successfully shoot the polar bear.
And then if you look very closely, here's the bear, and there's a tiny, tiny little stitch of red, which is where the polar bear has been wounded and killed. And one of the hunters has rested his rifle against a rock.
And here you see the hunters have received some help, probably from the town, to tie up the polar bear. And then tow the polar bear away on a sledge.
On a komatik. Yeah. And they're going to the community. So Donald McMillan was coming up to Labrador starting in 1908 through 1954, and his wife joined him later, and they bequeathed their collections of artifacts and papers to the Arctic Museum, and among those items were the 92 embroideries. What we're interested in finding out is what people know about the embroideries and what questions they would like answered about them as well. If you start reading the landscape and the icescape, there are some general geographic clues as to what some of these scenes represent. But there are so many questions that we have that are unanswered. We don't know who came up with the designs for the individual embroideries. We don't know if each embroidery represents the work of an individual or whether groups of people, perhaps at a sewing circle, worked on them. There are some different hands that we have identified in the stitching and in some of the ways that trees and people are handled. But we really know very little about the actual production.
Well, plastic's certainly been in the news quite a bit. Taking a look at a national story, most of the plastic that we use in Canada is never recycled. Much of it is single-use plastic used in packaging. Now, around the world, some governments are cracking down, and as part of a CBC Marketplace report detailing some of the worst examples of overpackaging, the federal government says a new strategy is coming, and it's coming soon. David Coleman explains.
No.
Go grocery shopping, and there's just no escaping it.
Look at the sea of plastic, David. Yeah.
Product after product coated in layer after layer.
That's a complete waste. Complete waste. Shame on that company.
And, says environmental journalist Adria Vassal, just 11% of it ever gets recycled. Much of it can't be, even if it ends up in the blue bin.
Not recyclable. Not recyclable. Not recyclable. End of story.
Governments have talked about taking action to reduce plastic, and now the European Union is doing that, announcing a ban on plastic cutlery, plates, straws, coffee stirrers, cotton buds, and styrofoam containers. So what about Canada? We asked you to send us pictures of what you thought was most egregious, then ran a poll to rate the worst packages, ending up with these 6 products.
I think it's totally bonkers.
A chocolate bar.
And we showed them all to the Federal Environment Minister, Catherine McKenna.
With plastic, more plastic.
With more plastic, and then inside.
No, tell me it's not. No, tell me
yeah,
no.
Yeah, more plastic.
And stand by, says McKenna, a national strategy to reduce single-use plastics is coming to Canada, but not necessarily an outright ban as some have called for.
Why not just come out and say, we're done with these?
We are looking at that, and this is part of our strategy, so we're working with provinces and territories.
In the meantime, 90% of those polled said plastic pollution is a problem. As other countries take the lead on fighting back, Canada's plan has yet to be revealed. David Coleman, CBC News, Ottawa.
Well, to find out which overpackaged product was rated the worst, you can watch the full investigation tonight on Marketplace at 8:30 on the island, 8 o'clock in most of Labrador on CBC television, or try streaming it by downloading the CBC Gem app.
Playoff basketball is about to begin. The St. John's Edge are lucky to have the best fans in the whole National Basketball League. More than 75,000 regular season tickets sold this year. Coming up, we'll chat with some of these fans about how exciting the playoffs can be.
Well, we're going to head back to Mile 1 Center where the seats are filling up for tonight's playoff basketball action. The St. John's Edge have home court advantage as they take on the Sudbury Five.
And that means Edge fans are going to be guaranteed at least 2 playoff games in St. John's. Here now, Zach Gowdy joins us live once again from Mile 1. So, Zach, how's the build-up going there as we get closer to game time?
Well, lots of people are hurrying into their seats, but you know, Anthony, some of these people are in these seats all year long, standing by with a couple of season ticket holders, Rhonda and Braden Lampkin. Rhonda, how did you catch the Edge fever?
Basically, I came to a game last season with Braden. Wasn't interested at all. Came in, sat down. Within a half an hour, I was hooked because the atmosphere and the guys are great. It's just awesome entertainment. It's so nice to see such a good team here supporting like the basketball, getting it all out. Because now it's super popular here in the province. There's so many teams, there's so many young players. It's nice to show them what they can achieve as well.
Braden, you've got a step further, not just a season ticket holder, but you started working for the team as a, what do they call you, assistant equipment manager maybe?
I'm just a ball boy, and I got here right after Christmas. Doug Plum asked me to be one of the ball boys, and I've been here ever since. 2 hours before the game, every game, just me for about at least an hour, and it's always my favorite place to be.
So what does it feel like for you to get out there on the court, having a shoot around with some of these players?
It feels great. Like, nothing's on my mind but that at every time I come down here.
That's so cool. And how exciting is it for you to be here now tonight, game 1 of the playoffs?
It feels a lot different than it did during the regular season because I know that it's going to be a lot higher and faster paced, and it's going to be rougher than it usually is.
Here comes the team right now. In fact, just watching the Edge go by. Rhonda, for anyone who hasn't come down to a game and experienced the fun of this, describe it for them. What is it that that made you a basketball convert?
Well, basically, the atmosphere, the fans are amazing. The team interacts with the fans so much, and it's great to see that the guys are just so easy to talk to and everything. And they actually give pointers to the boys that are here doing the sweeping and the ball boys and stuff. So it's nice to see that they take the time for the community and the fans.
They really have, and it really has made a big impression on people. I better let you get back to work. Thanks a lot for chatting with me tonight.
No problem.
And there's lots of tickets available for tonight's game and at Game 2 on Sunday if you want to get in on this fun yourself. Reporting live at Mile 1, I'm Zach Gowdy for Here and Now.
All right, let's hope Zach enjoys the game. You can feel the excitement building there.
Yeah, and it looked like Braden is really enjoying his job.
Yeah, as you heard Zach say, there's still some tickets available. A bit surprising, but if you're thinking of something to do for Friday night, maybe you should head on down to Mile 1. Well, no one said raising a child was easy, but it's even more difficult if you can't communicate. And that's the reality for families with hearing impaired children. Now, there are resources out there, but parents don't always know where they can find them. Rachel Cave reports.
Oh, that's not nice.
6-year-old Allison Chandler has no problem letting her mother know what she's thinking and how she's feeling. Mother and daughter now communicate in American Sign Language. But Heather Chandler regrets that it came so late.
But she was probably close to 3 when I really realized that she is not happy. She is very frustrated. She cries all the time. I don't know her. She doesn't communicate with us. She doesn't communicate with her brother. It was just, we felt like we were just in turmoil all the time.
Allison was evaluated by medical teams to see if she would benefit from a cochlear implant, but due to nerve damage, the answer was no. When Heather Chandler reached out to a local agency for help, they sent a deaf person out to the home to start teaching the family how to sign.
Even when I started learning, 1 or 2 signs a week, which is very, very little, I could see a difference. And I could see her, she would use the signs immediately after I would. And I just knew, okay, this is working, and I just have to work harder to make sure that it works.
Pinocchio didn't hit him, he just pushed him and he fell down.
Deaf children used to learn sign language here at the residential school for the deaf in Amherst, Nova Scotia. Joanne Bork is a former student who arrived when she was 9.
There was all kinds of deaf people talking with each other. I was afraid. I had never seen that before. And it took a couple of days, and the kids were approaching me and they were talking to me, and I had no idea what they were saying, but over time I started picking up the language, and that was it. Once I got that language, I just fell in love. It was, I could communicate with people. I just totally felt myself.
These days, New Brunswick children who are hearing impaired go to the regular schools, where they may get help from sign language interpreters. The Canadian Infant Hearing Task Force says the early years are critical, and since most profoundly deaf children are born to hearing parents, they will need to learn together, and the task force says that should come as soon as possible. Rachel Cave, CBC News, St. John.
Well, he jumps, he spins, he plays board games. Is there anything he can't do?
You're going to meet Rev and find out what makes him one of the world's most amazing dogs. Fortunately, I know where I put my snow shovel or broom, depending on how much
is coming.
Yeah, I wouldn't put your shovels or your broom away this weekend. If you missed it before, we'll take a look at the map as far as how much snow it looks like. Now, this is not the best agreement, but this is what I'm thinking. Somewhere between a trace and 5 centimeters across most of the island and up through Labrador as well. And then there are some areas that will see some more snow through Sunday and then into the beginning of Monday. So Northern Peninsula, potentially the southwestern portion of the island as well. And then the Southern Avalon, it looks like you could pick up between 5 to 10 centimeters before this system rolls through. But here it is through the overnight on Sunday. You can see some warmer air wraps around, so things could change over to rain through the overnight. But then in behind that, we get back into some cold air wrapping around that. So more snow is on the way along the Northern Peninsula and then the northeast coast through the day on Sunday, and then for parts of southwestern, southeastern Labrador. Otherwise, we should see some clearing skies in behind that through the day on Sunday. And then into Monday, the winds are going to shift to more northerly and they're going to pick up. So we're going to see a little bit of relief in those winds through the day on Saturday. Here's your temperatures, warmer as well. So sitting in the single digits, 6 degrees for Grand Falls, Windsor, 3 along for Corner Brook along the west coast, -9 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and then -11 it looks like should be your daytime high on Sunday for Nain. Now, looking ahead, as that system pulls off, it's going to stay offshore, but we could see that snow along the northeast coast with those winds really ramping up through the day. A little bit of a break in behind that system, and then the next one could bring some cloud cover. It looks like it'll stay offshore for us anyway, but still looking at that cloud cover moving in. But that system just off the coast, it's going to stay there for a while. So anywhere along the northeast coast, you could get into that potential for some snow, especially along the coastal Labrador through the day on Wednesday. And then that moves a little bit further south into the afternoon. So a little bit messy over the next couple of days. Those temperatures will be sitting in the single digits. Here's a look at that. 3 degrees tomorrow, those westerly winds near 50 kilometers per hour. And then again, looking at about 5 centimeters of snow in the evening hours, and then going down to -1. Now for Sunday, flurries or showers depending on that temperature, 5 degrees it looks like, and then 1 degree on Monday. Tuesday, looking at that potential for snow, and 4 degrees, and then flurries again on Wednesday. So generally sitting near or just above 0 through the next couple of days. Central Newfoundland, similar temperatures, about 2 centimeters for you, and then that potential for some flurries, or rather showers in the mix, and then flurries through Sunday and Monday, and then 7 degrees on Tuesday with showers, and then dropping overnight, so that should change over to flurries through the afternoon. Now for Western Newfoundland, 2 to 3 degrees this weekend and flurries, but then a mix of sun and cloud with that chance of flurries either in the morning or evening hours Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday looking at 1 degree with that chance of flurries. Now for Eastern Labrador, 1 degree tomorrow, then dropping like a rock to -9 on Sunday with some flurries in the morning. Again, a mix of sun and cloud, can't rule out that chance of a few flurries right into the beginning of next week, and then 1 degree for Wednesday. For Western Labrador, you're looking at 0 degrees tomorrow, a cool day on Sunday with that sun peeking out and the chance of a few flurries. Plenty of sunshine for Monday and -4, and then into Tuesday, you're looking at that chance of flurries. Let's look at your forecast. I'll have your weather photo coming up. Carolyn?
Thanks, Ashley. Well, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister has a warning for Canadians a few months ahead of the federal election in the fall. Chrystia Freeland says it's very likely outside powers will try to interfere in the process. She made the comments at the G7 meeting in France today.
We think there have probably already been efforts by malign foreign actors to disrupt our democracy.
Canada have decided that we need to, Chrystia is then going to host a global summit in Canada next year.
Freeland was responding to a question by a reporter about how concerned she was about the prospect of Russia meddling in the upcoming Canadian election. She says the goal of interference isn't necessarily to influence the outcome of the election, but to make our societies more polarized. Freeland says her government is working to put safeguards in place. An important aspect of that, she says, is making the public more aware. Well,
different kind of story now.
Yes, a little bit of a turn here. A Canadian dog trainer and her border collie came so close, but in the end, they weren't able to sway the judges to win a popular Facebook contest.
Now, that is not to say that Madison Phelan's dog, Rev, isn't impressive. Have a look at why Rev made it as a finalist of the world's most amazing dog.
Hi, I'm Madison Phelan, and this is my dog, Rev. We're going to show you guys some tricks. Boing, boing. Rev is a 5-year-old border collie. Rev came into my life when he was 10 weeks old. I wanted a super fast agility dog. He definitely lived up to that. Go, go, go. I heard about the contest when I saw lots of people that I know online. They were all posting videos of their dogs. I wasn't going to enter the contest in the first place, so I think it's just wild how we got this far.
No way.
We ended up with the Connect 4 video, and so that's what I decided to send in. I taught him to put a toonie or a coin in a piggy bank, and so that's where that kind of came from. It was a nice calm trick because sometimes he just gets too crazy and we need to kind of calm down a little bit, so this is a good calming one for him. Go, your turn. Good boy. Yes, Japan. Yes. I mean, I thought he was definitely capable of doing it. I just didn't know how far he would get, so I just kind of went in just to see, and now we're in the finals, so it's crazy.
Please welcome Rev and his owner, Madison.
We went to California to film. I was really nervous. Like the rehearsal day, it wasn't too bad, but then the day of, it was just like, I was just a bunch of nerves, and he definitely sensed it, and so he was the same way. So you really have to work together and try to be calm, or his performance won't go as well. Put it back, switch, put it back, cross. His personality, I know personality was definitely part of the judging criteria, and I definitely think he has the personality because he's quite comical and he acts almost like a human. It's like, it's my turn. What do you have to say? And we definitely upped our game for the finals. The trick where he's standing up on my feet, I just kind of added that one at the last minute too. Sit up.
15 seconds left.
It was definitely a risk, but I was willing to take it. And I think he was too, because when we were practicing, he was doing it perfectly. But any other time, he just wasn't doing it. So I don't know, it was like he was just telling me to put that trick in there or something. Sit. Sit your bum. Sit your bum. Sit your bum. Sit. Good boy. No matter the outcome, though, I'm so grateful for the whole experience. It was definitely something that I'll look back to, like, for years to come, forever.
Wow, what a dog! Now, how could Rev lose?
What dog won? I wonder.
I don't
What
know.
an amazing dog.
Some computer programming poodle or something, but that's amazing. Anyway, great dog story.
Well, here's your weather photo of the day. Beautiful shot there, hey?
Yes, you're not cloud themed this week.
I know. I love clouds. Guys, I'm a meteorologist. It makes sense.
Of course.
This photo is taken somewhere on the Avalon. You take a guess, and then I will tell you where this photo was taken when we come back.
Okay.
and anniversary greetings is brought to you by Lane's Retirement Living. With a pool, cinema, and chef-prepared meals, everyone wants in. Reserve your suite today.
Wishing Albert and Shirley Pear in Pasadena a happy 55th wedding anniversary. They celebrated on April 3rd. And congratulations to Bill and Carmel Goss, who celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary yesterday. Now, Carmel's originally from Mitchell's Brook, and Bill is originally from Chicago, but St. John's has been their home now for more than 40 years. Congrats. And a happy 52nd anniversary to Fred and Netta Pond in Twillingate. They celebrated on Monday. A happy 50th anniversary greeting to Roy and Elizabeth Taylor in Harbour Breton. And happy birthday to Bronson Lear in Port de Grave. He just turned 90, and you see him there with his two great-grandchildren, Lily and Luke.
Harold Tucker Sr. celebrated his 92nd birthday on April 1st. He lives in Port Saunders and is pictured here with his great-granddaughter, Aria. And here's an impressive birthday. Teresa Goodyear turned 101 on April 2nd and celebrated in Grand Falls, Windsor. Happy birthday to Betty Halliday Wood of Logie Bay. Today is her 93rd birthday. Happy 95th birthday to Hubert Oxford of Springdale. He celebrated on April 3rd.
Marilyn and Ford Payne from Rocky Harbour will celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary on Sunday with a big open house. And Eli and Patsy Bishop from Pollards Point, they celebrated their 55th wedding anniversary this past Wednesday. Congratulations to Wes and Ida Thompson in Botwood. They'll celebrate their 58th wedding anniversary tomorrow. Congratulations to Hedley and Evelyn Reed, who are celebrating a golden 50th wedding anniversary.
Happy 51st anniversary to Bill and Shirley Butler. Here they are with all of their grandchildren. Happy 91st birthday to Marie Drover of Grand Falls, Windsor. Happy birthday to Margaret Hussey of Paradise. She's turning 97. And happy 102nd birthday to Jan Vovskov in St. John's. He's a World War II veteran who served in the Polish Army. He celebrates his big birthday on April 9th. Happy 57th wedding anniversary on Sunday to Douglas and Phyllis Small of Morton's Harbor, now living in Clarenville.
And happy anniversary wishes to Leroy and Kay Pike in Corner Brook, who celebrated 55 years of marriage on April 3rd. And 50th wedding anniversary greetings as well to Everett and Joy Brett in Joe Bat's Arm. Their anniversary is coming up on April the 9th. And Sterling and Lizzie Hopkins, they celebrated their 64th wedding anniversary. I should say they are going to celebrate that tomorrow. They're from Brownsdale, Trinity Bay. Congratulations to Herbert and Mildred Park in Margaree, who celebrated their 58th wedding anniversary on Wednesday. And happy anniversary to Harry and Dora Coos. They are celebrating 58 years of marriage.
Happy 61st wedding anniversary on Sunday to Wilson and Audrey Stoyles of Goobies. Bob and Louise Kosh of Aspen Cove, Notre Dame Bay are celebrating their 56th wedding anniversary today. Congratulations. And happy birthday to Teresa Din Hussey of the Goulds, who will be celebrating her 92nd birthday tomorrow. Happy anniversary to Florence and Joseph Hopkins of Greens Harbor, who are celebrating 66 years of marriage tomorrow. And happy 57th anniversary to Cecil and Florence Gilbert from Bishop's Falls. They celebrate this Sunday. Happy 55th wedding anniversary to Bill and Lillian Williams of CBS, who celebrated on April 3rd.
Yeah, congratulations, everybody.
Fun crowd.
We're going to wind down here and now. You've got quite the green thumb, right? You like
I love
flowers
gardening,
and
yes.
that? Okay,
love
I'm
them.
just going to sort of put your skills to the test here. It may not feel like spring in much of Canada today.
But here's another sign. It really is on the way.
Check this out. How's that for sore eyes? This park is in eastern China. It has almost 5 million of these cherry-like blossoms, which are known as shibazakura, covering all those hills and fields. What a color.
Gorgeous. Gardeners here know the plants as lawn phlox or pink moss, and they're actually native to North America. They come in several shades of pink, white, and purple, allowing gardeners to get creative.
Yeah,
I have lots of phlox in my backyard, but
really?
not like that.
Quite something, isn't it?
So it's moss, you said? It grows?
It's,
It
yeah.
has a more pronounceable name.
Pink moss.
Pink
lawn
moss.
phlox or pink moss.
Okay.
Yeah, which is easier than shibazakura.
Yes.
But it's certainly quite gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Stunning.
Super stunning,
I'd love
yeah.
to get some of that. I wonder if it would grow here. Maybe.
Try it.
One never knows.
Zone
One never
5.
knows.
I don't know.
All right, onto the clouds
On to the
now.
clouds. Beautiful picture there.
Belle Island?
Yeah.
Whoa, I get one.
Wow. That was impressive. No, and I didn't tell him what
No,
it was,
you
I
didn't.
promise.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, so this photo was an evening taken on Belle Island. So Jeff sent us that photo. Thank you so much for sending that one in. If you have any that you'd like to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
And thanks for the phone call, Jeff, telling me that your picture was being picked. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He didn't call.
He didn't do that.
He didn't cheat.
No.
Weekend's here. Hope you have a great one.
Yes, have a great night, everyone, and we'll see you on Monday.
Yeah. Bye
Good
now.
night.